Now, the number that we're looking for on this right here, I'm going to go in here, pull the snap, and what I'm looking for is a tug number. Gets a little tough but manages to pass, and that's usually on this right here around 400 thousandths down. Sorry I'm losing my voice, guys. Anyway, number I'm coming up with right here is 1.744. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about 10 thousandths under that. So that way I get them relatively close and then I can come back and touch them up. So I'm going to set my number at 1735. Let's back off a little bit and look at the chalkboard. There we go, 1.735, and that's showing it being 400 down. Now, going over here, alright, this is my short turn, measuring off the tug point, as I called it, to the roof, 1.500, and that's at 3 inches in. Now, most of the time, on the small block Chevrolet, on the double humps, that number's 100 thousandths more. But guess what? On 2 of the roofs on Bob's heads, the sonic checker showed a thickness that was 80 thousandths shorter on 2 of them. So them 2 ports screwed up what I tried to do. I wish I could have got a 1/600 at it, but the heads just wouldn't let me do it. Anyway, I just want to show you that, and it's 3 inches in. Finally, our last one, we'll go over here to the wall, try to zoom a little bit, is our push rod. And on our push rod, like I mentioned earlier, I had a port in there that, boy, it got thin at 1.080, so I backed up, and we're going to make this 1.060. Those are 3 pickup points, and believe me when I tell you that's a considerable amount of material. What I decided to do this one time is after I get through doing all these and getting them measurements, we're going to take the sonic checker and we're going to go in there and I'm going to let you see the thicknesses that are left. And as I mentioned earlier, what I always try to do is on the older heads that's had water and erosion and antifreeze run through them, I try to keep the thinnest point at about 1/8 of an inch. Just to be on the safe side. I've done this long enough to know you start pushing it and you're playing with fire. But remember, these heads were pumped. There is no way I'd get these numbers right here and feel good about handing Bob the heads unless I pumped them. I not only pumped them once, I did it 2 times. I usually pump them twice on the older heads, once on the new ones, and I got that epoxy barrier covering the ports. So when I get these numbers, yeah, it might be thin, but I don't have to sweat it because I know that 10 years from now, I'm still going to have them numbers in there because I pumped them and it's got that epoxy coating on them that I heat for 4 hours, empty, heat for 4 more and cook them, and then put them in under 15 pounds of pressure. That coating was one of the greatest things I figured out a few years back, and man, it has been absolutely, well, there's no way, like I said, I could get the numbers unless I pumped them. Alright, so let's go back to the bowls and show you one. I've already done one, and then right beside of it's one that I haven't reset or redone after the porting. Let's see what we got here. Can't you just see the difference? I mean, I know we're looking through a camera and all, but can't you just see? I mean, look at where I went in there, and one way you can tell if the machinist reset the bowls, y'all can already see it. Look here. Try to get that reflectivity out of it. Alright. If somebody has went back in there and reset the bowls, remember the blue dicom that I put in to do the valve job? The blue's on top here. There's the gray seat. Look at that ring. I call it the ring of fire after my good friend Johnny Cash. I wish he was my friend. I never met him, but I love his music. I won't bullshit you. Alright. Anyway, there's our gray line, then boom, there's our ring of fire. Notice that is the width that I scribed the line to. Then after that, it's all shiny bowl. Now, if somebody hands you a head and you see this, then you know that after the porting, after the valve job, after setting it, they went in there and took their time to pull the bowl all the way to that 70-degree seat. Now, let's look over at this side right here. Alright, I try to take that reflectivity out of it in the same way, give you like, alright, look here. Look at how that's all blue in there, but here's the thing, look at this hump. There's a big radius hump. That's where I ported the bowl, done the valve job, done the digging, which the reason it's so dominant here is they did not properly enlarge the bowl for the 202 valve yank. Alright, anyway, going in here, look at this hump in the line. I'd say probably, well, hell, let's just measure it and see the difference. Here's our snap. I'm going to go in here and hit that hump part right there. Alright, I'm coming up with 1/696. Okay, now let's take this same tool while it's set. Let's slide over here. Notice I'm not cutting the film or breaking. Now, watch this. Wow. Now, let's go back so you can see a double view. I can't even barely get this to fit in there. There's my 696. I'll go ahead and span it to maximum width, which it really was there. Now, look. I can't even get it without a push to go in. Now, watch this side. Buddy, that is all the difference in the world. That's letting that air come in, slow down, because guess what? There's the valve seat. Let me try to explain this to you without going too deep. There's the valve seat. Now, if it goes back to that 70 and crints up, what have we created? A venturi or radius. So that means here the airspeed's coming in with this valve, and then it's trying to speed it up to slow down and hit the brakes, go around the corner, speed up and come out the bore. This side is much more consistent with the airspeed coming in and having a gradual turning coming out, not having to hit them brakes. Now, the funny thing is, a flow bench won't show these kinds of numbers on a lot of this. Sometimes it will. Most of the time, the flow bench won't show it. This is a wet flow thing in a big way that only an engine dyno will really show these kinds of differences. Alright. Anyway, you see what I'm talking about. Got a good smooth turn to exit, and this is a big rate. Look at that. I have to turn it sideways to even get it to fit. That's what you get resetting a bolt. That's what you get if you don't. Alright, now let's just see how much meat. And like I said, this is where I get nervous, but you know what? I ain't got no choice because this is what it takes in order to really do this. I think I can get a good camera view right here. Let's zoom on in a little bit. Alright, now let me show you how I do it, and the reason I picked this flame is because I can use once again the belly to hit that area. You didn't think there'd be that much meat there, did you guys? Hear the change in the grinder speed when I start bearing down the metal on it? Wow. See, you get pretty close sometimes, but mainly with this camera in the way, it ain't exactly the easiest thing in the world to get it. See how uneven it is right here? Now I got to come in here. Now, I'll be the first to admit to you, sometimes they might not be exactly perfect because, you know, my hands are human hands, but they're pretty close. I might have a little notch where it's, say, 10 or, you know, 15 thousandths off. Now, this is where we're doing our pickup points, right here. Alright, so we stop, we go to this side here, now we're talking, look at there. Only got a little bit of hold up once we get over 600 thousandths down. That's what we're looking for on this one right here. Just to verify that measurement again, let's check it one more time. 1726. See, I'm trying to watch that measurement. I know that if I can get it to pass on 1725, then I can take this and act as a touch-up tool and just touch from side to side to get it to level out. Alright, that covers the bow pickup points. Now I'm going to go ahead and get them. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and get the exhaust. I might pick in and show you one exhaust, but you get the points, what I'm trying to prove. This resetting of the bowl can make a decent amount of difference. Remember our measurement, 1.696. When it's done, it's going to be 1.735 to 1.740. Well, shit, man, that's almost 50 thousandths improvement of opening up that circle to feed the rest of that port and change. That's going to change our turning time. So is it worth it? Heck yeah, it's worth it. Do most people do it? No, they don't. But if you see that blue ring of fire, as Mr. Cash used to say right below that seat, somebody took the time because they gave a shit and went back in there and blended that bowl to that bottom angle. Even if you got a SERDI machine or a VG20, you still got to go back in there and do it. This ain't a stone-only thing. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next part of this episode, which I'll show you how I touch up the exhaust, and then it's on to pick up point 2, the roof.